here joining us. We will start with questions on Zoom. So if you have a question, please raise your hand.
Recording in progress.
And we can go ahead and start with Stephen.
Alana, I want to ask kind of overall, how is the team feeling going into this game? It's been a long time since you've had a losing streak this long, and what things you're looking forward to try and turn things around against North Carolina?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're obviously used to having kind of more success and more consecutive success, so I think that's obviously something that hasn't been a positive for us early in the season, the results, but I think the most important part this early in the year is that we're just building on performances and we're building on, the positives that we've been able to get out of each of the last games and kind of trying to negate some of the areas where we've fallen short or things that we could work on. So I think the team feels confident, with each match, no matter the result, right? Like, we've learned something, we've gained something, we've tried something new. Whether that's been successful or not just means, we've added something to our repertoire that we can use to go into the next game and do better. So yeah, like I said, we're excited. We want to get a result. At this point, it's about getting points. It's about getting points in difficult places. And like I said, just improving on our last performance.
Thanks, Stephen. Susie, go ahead.
Hey, Alana. I wanted to ask about just how the team is thinking and how you're defensively thinking about making sure to limit North Carolina's threats and what they present.
Yeah, I mean, I think North Carolina poses a different challenge than we've seen this far in the season. Their style of play, their distinct possession style. They'll have their kind of 9s and 10s be a little bit more like false, and center backs will probably have to step in with them. So like I said, it's a different challenge, different style. Obviously, we've been scouting that all week and working on that, and seeing the different patterns of defending that we think will work. So we feel pretty confident going in that we've been able to see what other teams have done against them that's been successful or not successful, and look to kind of tweak and repeat some of those patterns and put our own kind of spin on it.
Thanks, Susie. And then Jeff.
Hey, Alana, thanks for taking the time. You were talking just in this first answer there about focusing on those positives and negating some of the negatives. Maybe just what are some of the things you're encouraged by in terms of team performance? What are some of the things you feel like that is a focus in terms of improving?
Yeah, I think to improve, like, we got caught out transitionally in a few of the last games. Obviously, we played probably two of the stronger teams in terms of that with Amal Pugh, Oshuala. So I think those have been really good opportunities for us to learn how to negate transition opportunities, especially in a league like the NWSL. So working on that, and I think as well, like, once we get into the final third, just working on our quality, working on our decisions. I think the encouraging thing for us is that we're getting into those spots. We're getting solid number of crosses. We're getting people in the box, and then it's really just about kind of those final decisions and the execution. But I think if we weren't getting into exciting offensive moments, or like we weren't getting the ball in the box, we weren't getting players on the ball and in positions to shoot, I think we would be more worried. That I think is definitely harder to do than what we're dealing with right now. Is just kind of those last decisions, those last finishes, being clinical and clean in those areas. So I guess it's encouraging, but it is definitely something that we need to capitalize and improve on.
Is there an element? I mean, I know it's early season, but of just like of getting a result in a stretch like this, that you can feel that of whether that's a draw. I mean, obviously a victory, but of getting 3 points again, to feel that and kind of snap, feeling like there's or there being a sort of run of losses.
Yeah, I mean, I think points are always important. I think successful teams at the end of the year, right? You've picked up points on the road. You've picked up points in hard games. It's a little bit about bending, not breaking. So I think that stance, of course you want to get points. I think coming out of here with 3 points it'd be one, great for team morale, of course, like you said, but also just great in terms of staying in the title race, staying true to what our goals are at the end of the season. So it's not something that we're sitting here talking about of like, we need to do this, otherwise it's do or die. But it is something that we definitely it's a focus, and we're doing everything we can to go into the game and be prepared to do that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. And then Stephen, go ahead.
Just to follow up a little, you mentioned playing in hard places, getting points on the road. North Carolina in particular has been a really difficult place for the Reign to play over the years. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about, from your experience on the field, what do you think it is that makes this game particularly challenging?
Yeah, I think it's always a big trip for teams out west to come over. The east, the time change, the length of travel, trying to get settled in quickly, and obviously, you come from Pacific Northwest. It's you step into the heat here, the humidity that we don't really have a lot of experience with. So, I think there's a lot of situational, environmental factors that go into it. And North Carolina has also just been perennially successful. They have always played a really successful style of soccer. It's obviously changed throughout the years, but yeah, I think they're just a really good team, and it's a lot of factors go into making this a difficult place to play at. So we've come out of here with some results recently, and I think we're hoping to kind of keep that trend going.
Thanks, Steven. Jeff?
You just made me think of the travel from the West Coast, and I know Bethany had tweeted you guys had some travel fun or issues maybe in previous trips. How was this trip to get to Raleigh?
It actually was seamless, so we're doing all right. things are looking up in that regard.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Thanks, Jeff. All right, if there's no other questions, Susie, go ahead.
All right, one more for me. I just wanted to ask, Alana, you touched on this a little bit, but the team has notoriously been just really hard to break down defensively, and have given up so far just some uncharacteristic goals. And just wondering, as a defensive unit, and I know it's a team effort, but just sort of what have some of the conversations been with folks from a defensive perspective, and just what are you hoping to adjust moving forward?
Yeah, I think we've always prided ourselves on being difficult to beat, difficult to break down. So it has been disappointing to let in the goals that we have, and I think just the main focus has been identifying the trends and patterns where those are coming from, whether it be transition, is it coming from one side or the other, is it 1v1 defending, group defending, I think stuff like that. So yeah, we've just tried to look at and break down the patterns of how those goals are getting scored, how we're allowing teams to get into those positions. As a backline, then doing as much as we can to figure out if we do get broken down, what does that look like, but take steps before that. How do we stop that from happening? So we're focusing on both the preventative measures and also in this league there are going to be moments where you get broken down. Okay, what does the emergency defending look like? What does that look like? So yeah, we've done a lot of work on that, and we feel really good going into the game that we'll be ready to do that.
All right, cool. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Alana.
Thank you.